Ohioans speak out against the state's redistricting process. Children in Ohio get their first COVID vaccine doses. And in sports, Ohio women's basketball has 2 stars getting attention ahead of the 2021 season. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Newswatch, your source for the news impacting southeastern Ohio. I'm Curtis Fader. Ohio's House Oversight Committee heard hours of testimony from Ohioans today in opposition to the Republican-led legislature's 2 proposed congressional maps for the state. The Ohio House and Senate each released their own version of a new congressional map yesterday. And today, Ohioans testified in front of the Oversight Committee regarding those maps, with many expressing concerns around the process and opportunities to testify.
It is unconscionable that a map was presented yesterday, less than 24 hours before this hearing, without being made available to the public in an accessible manner for them to review. These hearings were again scheduled outside of daytime work hours. They were not scheduled around the state. There were not maps, and there are not virtual testimony options.
The proposed maps are now moving through their respective committees, as the legislature must draw maps after the Ohio's Redistricting Commission missed its deadline last month. State lawmakers now have until the end of the month to complete the process. Republican Mike Carey is now the 15th Congressional District's congressman. Carey was sworn in by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi earlier today after winning Tuesday's special election. Carey has taken office immediately, with the seat being vacated by former Congressman Steve Stivers in May. The swearing-in comes along with Chantel Brown, a Democrat in Cuyahoga County. Brown won her special election after Marcia Fudge, who is now serving as the Biden administration's Housing and Urban Development Secretary. Now let's go over to the first weather, where, Aaron, how are things looking right now?
Right now, Curtis, it's 44 degrees in Athens. Very dry conditions. Humidity's only just above 50% at 52. Winds are calm from the north at 2 miles per hour, And across the region, very similar chilly temperatures in the mid-40s. A little bit warmer to our south, 46 degrees in Ironton. A little bit chillier up to our northeast, 43 degrees in Cambridge and 44 degrees in New Martinsville. It's going to be sunny skies all around, luckily. So as we're heading into the week ahead, expect to see a sunny and dry weekend. Winds are going to be very calm. In my full forecast, I'll tell you just when you need to be prepared to throw your clock back an hour. Get some extra sleep this weekend, guys. Back to you, Curtis.
Love those windbreaker weather there, Aaron. Thanks. A private school in Cuyahoga Falls is warning students, giving them the choice to either admit they attended a large house party over the weekend and quarantine for 2 weeks, or risk expulsion. According to the president of Walsh Jesuit High School, Carl Ertl, photos and videos showing students not wearing masks and not social distancing at the party, involving at least 100 students. Adults supervising the party had reportedly contacted the school in advance, looking to understand restrictions for out-of-school gatherings. But according to Ertl, things got out of hand fast. Parents still have plenty of questions regarding the COVID vaccine for kids. While children won't have time to be fully vaccinated by Thanksgiving or Hanukkah, it's still possible to be vaccinated by Christmas and on other end-of-year gatherings. Mandy Gaither has more on the vaccine timeline in today's Health Minute.
You can take off your mask without wearing it.
Across the U.S., kids ages 5 to 11 rolling up their sleeves for a COVID-19 vaccine.
Now I know my body is strong enough because I have the shot now.
Children won't be considered fully vaccinated until 2 weeks after their second Pfizer dose. Since each dose must be at least 21 days apart, parents eyeing protection by Christmas and Kwanzaa have a deadline of November 19th to get a first dose and December 10th for the second dose.
Parents should consult with their pediatricians, consult with their family physicians, consult with their pharmacists, and they'll be able to know exactly where to get this particular vaccine for their children from 5 to 11.
Beginning November 8th, the White House says the pediatric vaccine program will be fully up and running. By the end of the week, officials say parents can also check where vaccines are available in their area by logging on to vaccines.gov. Local health departments will also launch thousands of community-based clinics.
So many of us have been worried about what happens as the weather gets cold, as everyone goes indoors, as those windows start getting shut in schools and ventilation gets worse. Having the kids vaccinated helps to stop that.
Health experts say getting kids vaccinated is key to staving off a potential winter surge and to having a safe holiday season. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
CDC Director Rochelle Walensky says children who have already had the COVID-19 virus should still be vaccinated and need both doses of the vaccine. Walensky says study shows it's safe for them to get the shots and that it will boost their protection. In Ohio, children are already beginning to receive their vaccine doses. Providers began immunizing kids in the state with the Pfizer vaccine yesterday. According to Governor Mike DeWine, at least 854 children in the state have received vaccines since then. He added that the number is likely higher as there can be a lag in vaccine reporting. In Athens, though, vaccinations have not yet begun for kids. According to Ruth Dudding, a health education specialist at the Athens City County Health Department, they'll be ready to begin vaccinating children on November 12th. Dudding also said they have assistance from Ohio University students who will help provide a welcoming environment for the children.
Typically, we are not vaccinating, 400 to 500 children on a given day. So having that resource and ability to create some fun and positive experiences is going to be great for everyone involved.
Athens County has now had nearly 8,000 total cases of COVID-19 since the beginning of the pandemic. 9 new cases of the virus were reported today. Officials in West Virginia say they are expecting 500,000 initial doses of the pediatric COVID-19 vaccine. That's enough to cover 30% of the state's roughly 141,000 children ages 5 to 11. The state is set to receive doses of the Pfizer vaccine for children, with retail pharmacies now able to request those doses. Nearly 4,500 West Virginians have died due to COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. Coming up, a timeline for federal vaccine mandates. Plus, it's back to work for President Biden as he returns from abroad. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
We've narrowed down our field after round 1, and it doesn't get any easier from here. The fight to move on continues as we'll be covering the best matchups in the region. We'll be headed to London to see the Red Raiders take on Bishop Hartley. We'll also be checking out Jackson as they host Eastmoor. So turn the channel to WOUB on Friday at 11:30 p.m. for all the action. You won't want to miss it. Let's go!
This is amazing.
On Finding Your Roots, actor John Lithgow.
I never dreamed that I was personally connected to this.
And journalist Maria Hinojosa.
These are ancestors that I did not know.
Family shockers.
No!
400 years old.
My ancestors came over on the Mayflower.
Plus a DNA match.
Wow.
Turn the page. That explains everything.
Finding Your Roots.
How do you heal of a senseless murder, of an officer killing your son in the middle of the street?
Put your lighters up for Mike Brown.
This was going to be bigger than it looked.
Nobody woke up that morning when their loved one was dying and say, hey, I want to be the face of the movement.
Losing a child is hard. We have to do things that build us back up. The death of my son did do change. It's just the beginning.
Ferguson Rises, Monday, November 8th at 10 on Independent Lens.
The way home is different for everyone.
You don't believe that you're chewing on that bird.
Everything could go wrong. Oh my God, what if they shoot us out of the sky?
They put some red paint on me. You're a warrior now. I didn't expect that kind of a welcoming.
I felt so guilty, survivor's guilt.
In your imagination, you're just going to get out of the military and you're going to live happily ever after. Unfortunately, things creep out of your past.
federal government today laid out a new timeline for certain vaccine mandates to be implemented throughout the nation. The new rules impacting more than 100 million workers across the country sets a January 4th deadline for employees of large corporations to be fully vaccinated with either 2 doses of Pfizer or Moderna or 1 dose of Johnson & Johnson by that date. While the mandates are facing some pushback, Chris Wynn reports that many health experts say it's a critical tool to protect workers and bring an end to the pandemic.
In the fight against COVID-19, the Biden administration announcing Thursday large companies across the country now have until January 4th to ensure that their employees are fully vaccinated.
We know the most disruptive thing in a workforce is to have a COVID outbreak.
The sweeping new health measure covers 84 million private sector workers and applies to businesses with 100 or more employees. OSHA says companies should provide paid time off for employees to get vaccinated, as well as sick leave for side effects. Workers who are not vaccinated by then must get weekly testing.
We know that vaccines absolutely save lives, and we know that mandates work.
Federal contractors, as well as 17 million workers at healthcare facilities that receive either Medicare or Medicaid funding, are also now required to meet the same January 4th deadline. The plan, which was first announced in September by President Biden, directed the Labor Department to invoke its emergency powers over workplace safety. But critics say could further impact labor shortages and supply chain issues.
And these job ultimatums, I think, can only move the economy in a much worse direction.
President Biden pushing back on concerns in a statement saying in part, there have been no mass firings and worker shortages because of vaccine requirements. In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn.
These new rules arise from the September announcement requiring all federal workers to be vaccinated. Today's announcement also clarifies that the federal regulations supersede any state or local laws that aimed at banning such mandates. After nearly a week abroad, President Joe Biden is back in the White House. John Lorink reports as Democrats' infrastructure and spending plans continue to stall in Congress.
While declaring victory with the authorization of COVID-19 vaccine for children 5 to 11,
we've taken a giant step forward.
President Joe Biden is still facing a number of political setbacks. Democrats in Congress have yet to pass his $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan, nor a sweeping $1.75 trillion social safety net expansion bill.
I do know that people want us to get things done.
The lack of action taking some of the blame for major Democratic losses in state elections this week.
We should have passed before Election Day.
House progressives who have held up passage of the infrastructure bill in order to negotiate the separate spending bill reject such criticism.
Every attack ad I saw against Terry McAuliffe did not say Congress hasn't passed the infrastructure bill.
In a major shift following the election losses, Speaker Nancy Pelosi reintroduced 4 weeks of paid family and medical leave to the spending measure, jeopardizing support in the Senate. The House Majority Whip says they are ready to move forward.
I think that the better part of wisdom is for us to get to common ground within the next several hours, try to pass that bill this week, both those bills this week.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
There is controversy over the race of some jurors in the Ahmaud Arbery case. That story still ahead.
And are you ready to hang up those winter coats? I'm tracking our next warm-up in my full forecast, but for now, take a look at stocks of local interest.
On Secrets of the Dead.
The Hindenburg's horrible end has shocked the entire world.
Now, more than 80 years later, the list of failures that led to the tragedy can be revealed.
The testing was not very adequate at all.
The money that the Nazis gave had strings attached.
The use of hydrogen did make this airship a ticking time bomb.
Hindenburg's fatal flaws. On Secrets of the Dead.
We've narrowed down our field after round 1, and it doesn't get any easier from here. The fight to move on continues as we'll be covering the best matchups in the region. We'll be headed to London to see the Red Raiders take on Bishop Hartley. We'll also be checking out Jackson as they host Eastmore. So turn the channel to WOUB on Friday at 11:30 p.m. for all the action. You won't want to miss it. Let's go!
This is amazing.
On Finding Your Roots, actor John Lithgow.
I never dreamed that I was personally connected to this.
And journalist Maria Hinojosa.
These are ancestors that I did not know.
Family shockers.
No!
400 years old.
My ancestors came over on the Mayflower.
Plus a DNA match.
Wow.
Turn the page. That explains everything.
Finding Your Roots.
How do you heal of a senseless murder, of an officer killing your son in the middle of the street?
Put your lighters up for Mike Brown.
This was going to be bigger than it looked.
Nobody woke up that morning when their loved one was dying and say, hey, I want to be the face of the movement.
Losing a child is hard. We have to do things that build us back up. The death of my son did do change. It's just the beginning.
Ferguson Rises, Monday, November 8th at 10 on Independent Lens.
Welcome back to Newswatch, everyone. I'm your lead forecaster, Erin Ashley. Looking at the skies above, you can see right here there's not much happening in our area, maybe spotty clouds every once in a while or so, but overall, generally, it's very, very clear, going to bring about some very nice weather. This is caused, by a high pressure system that is just over our area as we speak right now. It's bringing those clear, dry conditions, as you can see right here by these blue H's, right here to our east and to our west. That's going to bring about some very nice weather over the next couple days. Starting tonight, it's at 8 p.m. It's going to be 40 degrees, clear skies, and it's going to dip down a little bit to 36 degrees at 10, and temperatures will continue to drop to get as cold as 32 degrees by midnight, and temperatures will continue to drop as we hit a low of 26 degrees tonight. Frost is likely as a result as high humidity is at 88%, Winds are potentially coming from the north direction, anywhere from 0 to 5 miles per hour. And across the region, it's going to be very cold across the entire region, unfortunately. 29 degrees in Ironton, 26 degrees in Ripley, going to be a little bit warmer actually to our northeast, 28 degrees in Cambridge and 27 degrees in New Martinsville. Overall, I suggest bringing a jacket wherever you go tonight, and if you have an early start to your morning, be sure to get the scraper out because frost is very, very likely. Heading into tomorrow, you can see that high pressure is still in our area, going to bring about some very nice temperatures. Not temperatures, excuse me, it's still going to be pretty cold, but very nice conditions. Starting out our day at 8 a.m., it's going to be 28 degrees, a frosty start, and it's going to steadily warm up to 45 degrees by noon. Sunny skies are expected for tomorrow with a high of 51 degrees. Again, some dry conditions brought by that high pressure system, and humidity is going to be pretty low. Overall, it's going to be the nicer day that we've seen so far this week. Winds are going to be calm from the east direction, anywhere from 0 to 5 miles per hour. And across the region, expect to see temperatures in the low 50s with 53 degrees in Ironton as well as Ripley. It's going to be a little bit chillier to our north, 50 degrees in Columbus, Newark, New Lexington, Cambridge, as well as New Martinsville. Again, very sunny skies, very pleasant conditions as we're heading into the weekend. On Friday, it's going to be a high of 51 degrees. It's going to rise even a little bit more on Saturday at 58 degrees, and steadily it's going to rise to 59 degrees on Sunday. As we head into early next week, temperatures will get as high as 65 degrees on Tuesday, and then it's going to start getting a little bit chillier as we head into later next week. This will be caused, by a cold front as we move into Thursday. Thursday, as you can see, might be a little bit cloudy, but overall it's going to be a very nice week with sunny skies. And another thing I really want to emphasize to you, Curtis especially, is on Saturday, make sure that you're setting your alarm clock back, because as we head into this weekend, daylight savings is finally here. I am so thankful that I get to sleep in a little extra this weekend. How about you?
I'm thankful for that, but I'm also not excited about it being pitch black at 6 o'clock. But great work as always, Erin. Thank you so much. Nearly all-white jury is set to decide the fate of 3 men accused of murdering Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia last year. 25-year-old Arbery was shot and killed while out for a jog in February of 2020. The trial is set to begin tomorrow with Gregory McMichael, his son Travis, and their neighbor William Bryan Jr. charged with the murder. Jury selection was completed, with prosecutors filing a motion of accusing the defense of being discriminatory for striking several black jurors based on race. McMichael's lawyers argue the opposite, saying the jurors cut across all lines of gender, age, race, and ethnicity.
The African-American jurors come in and they were questioned so harshly by the defense team, and seeing them all struggle, I mean, it was very hard, and it was just, it's like unreal. I mean, I just can't put it into words. I was very shocked that we only had one black African-American man.
All three defendants have pleaded not guilty to multiple state charges, including felony murder. The 12-member jury and 4 alternatives will be impaneled tomorrow morning before opening statements begin. For the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, one juror is dismissed after making a racially charged joke. Judge Bruce Schroeder said the middle-aged juror made a joke about the week prior about the shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, the event that sparked unrest in the city, leading to Rittenhouse's alleged shooting and killing of 2 men in August of last year. Judge Schroeder spoke on the dismissal today, emphasizing the need for a fair trial.
One of the things that I have to do when I have to make judgments, I try to confine my judgments to the things I have to judge and not to forming opinions about other people other than that. So I don't want to get into that. The point I'm making is that the public needs to be confident that this is a fair trial, and I think even at the very most, it was bad judgment to tell a joke of that nature.
Both sides agreed to dismiss the juror. Rittenhouse has pleaded not guilty in the case, claiming he shot 3 men who were demonstrating against the shooting of Blake in self-defense.
Coming up in sports, Ohio soccer begins its quest for a MAC tournament title tonight against a familiar opponent. And right after the break, 2 Ohio women's basketball stars are back for another season and earned preseason recognition from the Mid-American Conference. That and more coming up next on Newswatch. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
How do you hear of a senseless murder, of an officer killing your son in the middle of the street?
Put your lighters up for Mike Brown. This was going to be bigger than it looked.
Nobody woke up that morning when their loved one was dying and say, hey, I want to be the face of the movement.
Losing a child is hard. We have to do things that build us back up. The death of my son did do change. It's just the beginning.
Ferguson Rises, Monday, November 8th at 10 on Independent Lens.
The way home is different for everyone. You don't believe that you're chewing on that bird. Everything could go wrong. Oh my God, what if they shoot us out of the sky?
They put some red paint on me. You're a warrior now. I didn't expect that kind of a welcoming.
I felt so guilty. Survivor's guilt.
In your imagination, you're just going to get out of the military and you're going to live happily ever after. Unfortunately, things creep out of your past.
Elvis was a very patriotic fellow. He was more sensitive now to understanding World War II since he wasn't in it, and understanding about this story.
On Secrets of the Dead.
The Hindenburg's horrible end has shocked the entire world.
Now, more than 80 years later, the list of failures that led to the tragedy can be revealed.
The testing was not very adequate at all.
The money that the Nazis gave had strings attached.
The use of hydrogen did make this airship a ticking time bomb.
Hindenburg's fatal flaws. On Secrets of the Dead.
Good evening, I'm Juliana Colant. The dynamic duo of Cece Hooks and Erica Johnson are back for another season of Ohio women's basketball, and they were just named to the Mid-American Conference preseason first team. Hooks earned All-American Honorable Mention and MAC Player of the Year last season. She is 59 made field goals short of a new school career record and 253 points shy from breaking the program's career scoring record. Hooks returns after originally declaring for the WNBA draft. Johnson is on the preseason watch list for the 2022 Cheryl Miller Award after receiving All-MAC third-team recognition last season. Head coach Bob Bolden says he's excited to see what can happen with both back in the starting lineup.
The draft process was the pre-draft process was a great experience for CC, and a pretty unique experience and something to go through. And then to have Erica, have come back from surgery and probably be the healthiest that she's been since she's been here, and having them both back and healthy and well is exciting. And we'll just have to see how long we can keep it that way.
The Bobcats are at the top of the preseason coaches poll. Ohio received 132 points based on the votes from the MAC's 12 head coaches. Ohio finished third in the MAC last year after falling to Central Michigan in overtime during the semifinals. The Bobcats still had a stellar season, ending with a conference record of 11-6 and 3 players named to academic All-MAC team for excellence on the court and in the classroom. Ohio scored a signature win against Notre Dame last season and hope to beat the Fighting Irish again in their season opener Tuesday. Ohio Soccer's head coach is getting some love ahead of his team's conference tournament matchup tonight. Aaron Rodgers is your MAC Soccer Coach of the Year. Rodgers led the Bobcats to their best winning percentage in a regular season since 2002 with a record of 11 wins, 4 losses, and 3 draws. Ohio women's soccer kicks off the postseason tonight. The Bobcats meet Kent State again in the MAC semifinals at 7 p.m. If the Bobcats win, they move on to the MAC championship Sunday at 1 p.m. Ohio hockey kicks off a 3-game week hosting 2 different opponents. After 2 losses to Adrian last weekend, Ohio heads into its game against Robert Morris tonight. The Bobcats lost to the Colonials last season and hope to change the pace tonight with a win. Puck drop is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. at Byrd Arena. Ohio faces Western Michigan for the first time since 2009, Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. Ohio football prepares for its final 3 games following a big win in the Battle of the Bricks. The Bobcats defeated Miami in an emotional 35-33 victory Tuesday night and marks Ohio's first win over the Redhawks since 2017. Although the players are excited for the victory, head coach Tim Albin says he looks forward to what the next few weeks hold.
I think that the team is hungry. We want to know. We're past the 24 hours on the Miami game. They're going to see the film today, and we're going to put it to rest and try to play our better game against Eastern. As Eastern beat Miami 3 weeks ago.
The Bobcats travel to face Eastern Michigan Tuesday with kickoff scheduled for 8 p.m. I'm Juliana Colant, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Curtis.
Great to see the Bobcats back in the win column. Thanks. New York City's Rockefeller Center Christmas tree has been selected. For the first time, the tree will come from the state of Maryland. The 79-foot Norway spruce will be cut down on November 11th and arrive in New York City on the 13th. The tree will be lit up December 1st with more than 50,000 multicolored lights and, of course, a star on top. Now over to Aaron with a final look at your weather.
Thank you, Curtis. Right now in Athens, it's 51 degrees, very dry conditions, and winds are going to be very calm from the eastern direction, anywhere from 0 to 5 miles per hour. And actually, this is tomorrow. My apologies. And heading into the across the region map, it's going to be in the low 50s for the majority of our region, with warmer temperatures to our south and cooler temperatures to our northeast. 50 degrees in Cambridge, New Martinsville, and even to our northwest a little bit. Columbus and Newark are going to see some very chilly temperatures as well. We got a very sunny week ahead of us, but back to you, Curtis.
Thank you for watching.
Support comes from Hocking Valley Bank, offering mortgage loans or refinancing on an existing home, making it easy for dreams to become a reality. Hocking Valley Bank, we know loans. Support comes from Ohio University's Center for Campus and Community Engagement, fostering mutually beneficial partnerships between faculty, staff, and students